Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 14, the three gunas, Satvagun, Rajasic and Tamasic. The Lord Almighty said, "Now I shall explain to you the prime wisdom of knowledge that has enabled the sages to attain prime siddhi. The people who acquire this wisdom and assimilate the same realize me and are not subject to cycle of rebirth, and they do not get nervous even on the doomsday. Arjun, nature is my creation and is known as Brahman, form. Nature is the mother of all living beings, and I am the father responsible for their birth. My union with nature brings about the birth of all living beings. Arjun, all living beings appear to be born of innumerable mothers from their womb, but in fact they are my creation. Nature is the mother and I alone the father of all living beings. Arjun, Satvagun, mode of goodness, Rajogun, mode of passion, and Tamogun, mode of ignorance. These three types of attributes of nature keep the eternal Atman bound in this mortal body. Nishpap Arjun, among these three gunas, Satgun being purest enlightens and is without any defect. Satgun breeds joy and wisdom and is associated accordingly. However, the Rajogun is born out of desire and attachment. Rajogun binds the Atman with action and the result thereof. But Arjun, Tamogun, mode of ignorance, which degrades the human being, is born out of ignorance. Tamogun binds the soul with lethargy and the tendency to carry out pointless jobs. Arjun, Satgun, mode of goodness, brings peace and joy. Rajogun, mode of passion, is responsible for karma or action, and Tamogun eliminates wisdom and engages the mind in futile tasks. Satgun spreads by overpowering or curbing Rajogun and Tamogun. Rajogun grows by suppressing Satvagun and Tamogun, and likewise Tamogun spreads by suppressing Rajogun and Satvagun. When Satvagun grows by suppressing the other two, that is Rajogun and Tamogun, it brings greater understanding, consciousness and reasoning. It is indicative of growth of knowledge and wisdom. And Arjun, the growth of Rajogun is indicated by greed, selfish thoughts, and taking actions with personal ends in view. Rajogun also promotes the growth of desires and hankering after worldly pleasures. But when Tamogun spreads, one finds growth of darkness in the senses and the mind, and lack of desire to do one's duty, and procrastination, useless effort, lethargy, and excessive sleep, such as debasing factors, increase and develop. If a person dies when Satgun is on the rise, he achieves superior abodes where purity and goodness prevails. Here he enjoys heavenly pleasures. And if a person breathes his last when Rajogun, mode of passion, is prevailing, he takes birth among the people who are more attached to action, like this human world. But if he dies when Tamogun, mode of ignorance, is on the rise, the person is condemned to the lowly and ignorant life of worms, animals, etc. The result of sattvic goodness action is joy, wisdom, and non-attachment. The result of Rajas, passion, action is sorrow, and that of Tamas, action is degradation. Satvagun breeds wisdom, Rajogun undoubtedly breeds greed, and Tamogun breeds futile action or the lack of action and degradation. The persons who remain in the fold of Satvagun attain better worlds like heaven. Those remaining in Rajogun remains in the human world, and those practicing lethargy, excessive sleep, and futile actions representing Tamogun are condemned to the lowly life of worms, animals, and the like, and reach hell. The moment a human being does not recognize himself as the doer of action, but believes that any action is born out of interaction of gunas. Further, once he realizes that the Lord Almighty, beyond the bonds of these gunas, he achieves my status. Such a person transcends the effects of these gunas and becomes free from the perils of birth, death, and old age. He attains salvation. Arjun asked, "What should a man do to transcend and rise above the effects of these three gunas? And what should the qualities of his actions be?" Lord Almighty said, "Arjun, the person who neither grudges nor desires the natural results of these gunas and remains as a witness without getting involved or affected is able to maintain his calm countenance and is never disturbed. Such a person understands that actions are the results of interaction of these three gunas. He is thus in a position to maintain the stability of his mind, and he understands the presence of Almighty in all places, at all times. He has no reason to feel or get bewildered over anything. The person who is constantly satisfied and realizes the presence of the Almighty Soul above all, he treats joy, sorrow alike. For him, dust, stone, or even gold do not make any difference. He remains steadfast, whether he is appreciated or criticized, whether he is loved or hated. Such a person behaves uniformly with his friend and with his enemy. He who has no ego of himself, being the doer of any action, is considered gunatit, transcending the effects of the actions. And the person who remembers me with the understanding that I, the Lord Almighty alone, is the be-all and end-all of everything, he considers me worthy of absolute devotion, because I am the abode of that eternal peace. I am the pure nectar. He carries out his daily duty to the best of his ability. He achieves ultimate happiness that results from the stability of mind. Thus spoke Lord Krishna to Arjuna.